Hello, I'm David Bosek, and this is part 2, video issue section D of my Moon Hoax Conspiracy series. Before I get into today's video, I want to let people know some things about me. I am David Bosek. I run news magazine channels on social media. I'm David Bosek, and I do not use AI in the creation or the editing of any of my videos. That's full disclosure on that, and I will have more about this at the end of today's video. So before I get into the rest of the video, I would also like to say that the information used in this video is taken from Trevor Weaver's book, which is found in my sources list in the description for video 252. Okay, on with the video. One big thing with NASA and all the people that believe in the moon landings is the issue of the retro-reflectors being used on the moon. They claim they've got these reflectors up there. NASA claims this, that Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong put up there, and that proves we went to the moon in '69. Not. I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you why in the early stages of this video. So, here we go. I've always found it hilarious that people believe in the moon landings just because of this supposed fact. Retro-reflectors prove nothing here, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. They are basically no evidence or real evidence we ever landed on the moon in '69. Many other studies also agree with what I'm saying. That's on page 226 of the Weaver book. One of the organizations involved with the reflectors is also named Apollo and is tied to NASA. Beware of the establishment's ties or involvement with NASA. MIT and the Crimeans, or the country Crimea, were bouncing signals off the moon way before the Apollo program. Keep in mind, you do not need reflectors to bounce anything off a planet, the moon, or anything else. That's just basically basic physics. It's scientific fact. Andreas Markey of the Swiss Federal Institute of Tech claims the reflections may not even come from the reflectors. Keep that in mind in your head. One study that's damning of all this comes from NASA's own Jet Propulsion Lab. In my opinion, maybe one of the biggest red flags of the entire hoax. That's on page 227. They're a small percentage of area on the moon, or mostly supposedly in the Sea of Tranquility on the moon, as cited by research and formulas. In my opinion, also proving the hoax even deeper. Lasers can bounce anything off of the moon. Anything can be bounced anywhere off of the moon, or anywhere else for that matter. You don't need reflectors to be able to do this. That's why it's the massive sign of a hoax. The posting event could have been faked too. In my opinion, anything can be faked. Weaver and other researchers believe this. I don't totally agree with them. I don't think there's any reflectors up there. I think it's all hocus pocus fakery in the way of photographic and video evidence by NASA. I don't believe they're up there whatsoever. I think it's all a lie by NASA. Unmanned missions did not put that up there. They don't exist up there. That's my personal opinion. Jara White, who's another fairly big researcher in this community, and I've looked at some of his work here and there, and it's very good on the technical levels of this hoax. He exposes video fakery in the Weaver book, page 241. In Apollo 15 videos, he points to the idea or the concept that the end capsule scenes are only 30 seconds long. It's a familiar refrain in your media. In my opinion, massive red flag. In Apollo 10 and 11 videos, there's a blue light in the scene in the capsule window, which really means they're in low Earth orbit at that point, which means it was probably filmed on Earth. According to NASA, they were 100,000 miles in space or halfway to the moon at this point. I seriously doubt it. Makes no sense. He's right. It's all bigger, more technical evidence of a hoax. The Astros talking with Mission Control is also a big problem in this saga. On TV, you would have to have time gap according to physics laws, which is not there in this hoax. This is in some of the research. It probably should get more attention, but it doesn't. NASA later edited the fakery according to Weaver on July 17th of 24. NASA used echoes according to him to make up the time gap. I don't know if that's real or not. It probably is, according to him, even if it's not. There's so much evidence that proves it's a hoax. Trust me, it's a hoax. The Earth view in Apollo videos from the capsule window is a hoax, according to researcher Bart Sibrel. You may have heard of him. He's fairly well known in researching the moon landing hoax. NASA sent him a film one time that's a staging of this, according to him. Now, I don't know for a fact if that's actually true or not. I think he's telling the truth, but the reality is, even if it's not, it's still all a hoax. Remember, NASA personnel change over time. Who was there in '69 faking this is no longer alive anymore. So they may not even have known what they sent this guy. Or was it done on purpose to expose what went on way back when? You can't really prove anything. But the bottom line, it was a hoax. Sibrel also discovered on this video a third person in the communication loop telling Neil Armstrong to, quote-unquote, talk. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but by logical deduction, it probably is, because it would have had to have been done in this hoax, which is essentially a movie. You can only have two in the loop, obviously. Anything beyond that would remind you a lot of the movie Capricorn 1. Astros are never in the same shot as Earth in these videos. Weaver gives a lot of attention to this. A lot of film buffs like me, who have seen probably about 1,000 movies in our life, we call it smoke and mirrors. I also call it video manipulation. NASA had access to satellite and info and cloud info because they had satellites up there in the 50s way before Apollo 11. Keep that in mind. They control all the information. White thinks this video or possibly other Apollo videos were actually made way before Apollo 11. That would take us back, in my opinion, to about circa 1965 or 66. So it's all fake. There's always a changeover blackout when shifting shots of the Earth within the capsule, which suggests if they had to keep moving a camera, there's not enough room for that in a spaceship. So it would have had to have been shot on Earth or in an office. It's a sign of fakery because of the refocusing of the camera. Major red flag. Remember, the audio is continuous in these videos, but the video isn't. Which means they're stopping and starting and this type of thing like in a movie because the camera is being moved around in an angle pattern or possibly a circular motion, which proves it's all being faked. None of this was real. In fact, I believe the entire Apollo program was faked. Okay, thank you for your time. Please note that I am David Bosak, and I do not use AI in the creation of any of my videos. If you want more information about me, you can Google my name, David T. Bosak, on the internet, and it will be provided for you. I am a published author, I'm a politician, a political activist, and a former candidate for a major office in the state of Michigan back in 2010. You can get all this information off the internet. I am real. I'm also a published author with a detailed biography on Goodreads.com. Also on Goodreads, I have a blog that is current on major issues, also with other information about me, such as being a published author. My opinions are on there. I also have 6X or Twitter accounts on major current public issues. All this information is about me on the internet, and you can get it if you're interested. but I do not use AI in any of these videos. Okay, once again, thank you for your time. Please make a note that my videos next week are going to be on deeper video and telescopic evidence that this was all faked. I'm going to get into the faking of Buzz Aldrin's footprints on the moon. I'm also going to talk about the faking of a lot of data, such as telemetry data that was faked to actually make this look real. I'm going to talk about a lot of technical issues that proves this was all a hoax and the entire Apollo program was basically filmed on Earth. Once again, thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. It's free to subscribe.